In today's video, we are going to revisit this bin that's been staring back at me of unclaimed layouts. All of these layouts in here are double page layouts and they have no photos. I've also been cleaning up some of my older scrapbooks. This is a baby album, and as I'm removing them from this book and adding them in new page protectors, I'm looking at these pages and I don't love them, especially when I know I have pretty awesome layouts right here staring back at me. Hello there, welcome to my channel. I'm Julie. As I mentioned, I am working through my baby album right here, and I've been pulling off these layouts. Now these layouts here measure 11¼ by 12 because of the page style that they were once put in. Now, as I'm pulling them off, I could definitely save them, but when I'm looking at them, I don't really love them. So this is the page protector style that goes over. It's a sleeve, and that was the primary reason why I decided to clean up this album, if you want. Here's the layout I selected from that bin down below. I love this layout when I put it together, but as you can see, there's no photos on here. So when I go through my selection of naked layouts, I look at, of course, the colors, and then how many photo places do I have on the new layout versus how many photo placements or how many photos do I have on the existing page. Now, you're probably saying, well, these don't match. No, they don't match exactly, but let me show you the next step in my selection process. Let me bring both of these layouts into frame. So this is the existing one and this is the new one. And the first thing you'll notice, maybe you haven't noticed, I don't know why I did this back in the day, but I took a photo and I just cropped it down to whatever size. Whatever I didn't want in the photo, I cropped out, and that's what it was. So this photo here is a 4" by a 5. We have a 5 by a 3¼ and this one here is a 3¾ by 5¼ I was all over the place back then. And you know what? If you like to just crop and go, that is perfectly fine. But I think that over the years, my scrapbooking has evolved and I like a little bit more symmetry and a little bit more order on my pages. When I looked at my photos, I looked at the new layout that I've selected, and I think I want to add 1, 2, 3. I want to add them right here. And you're probably saying, well, those are only 3x4s and you can't crop down. Definitely not, but we're going to change the size. So I will have 1, 2, 3 photos. They're going to go right here. And then here I do have a 4x4-ish. Who knows at this point? This is a 4x4. Wow, I was consistent. This one here is a 4 by 4¼ Again, very random sizes. I know I want to put this photo right here, so I can crop that down to a 4x4. This 4x4 is going to go on this page. I have these two photos, and luckily enough, they are looking into the page. So I'm going to add a 3x4, a 4x4, and a 3x4. Now, let me show you how that's going to look. I'm not going to start cutting them just in case, because again, those are original. Now, I just cut out some just plain old white cardstock, and I'm going, okay, let's do a 3x4, a 4x4, and a 3x4. Okay, that's going to work, no problem. Now for my other ones, I figured out that I can probably try and crop them to a similar size. So this is a 5 by 3½, and I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to add the smaller one in the center, which is going to be a 5 and 3¼ And then this one here, if I put it over, I really have to move all of these flowers. So I'm just going to offset this one, and it's going to cascade down. This is a 4x4. But I really think that I can add all of these photos on this layout. The first thing we have to do is we have to remove all of these photos. I will probably use some of this undo. This is pretty remarkable if you are deconstructing pages. So let's start that process together. I know it's a little scary, but I really do feel that I am going to be successful. So I'm going to push these out of the way and we're going to start here. So we're going to start pulling these photos off. And this one here, I started to pull it off. And I see that I've got a little bit of glue here. I can definitely use this product on the photo and it's not going to damage it. So let's see if we can pull this off. This one is coming off pretty nicely. So we're going to put this here to the side. And as you can see here, I'm just trying to lift them with my hands at first. And then I'm just going to bring my little Cricut spatula and I'm going to go right underneath. I do like that I have a photo mat in back of these photos. So when I'm pulling them off, I'm not damaging the photo so much because it's on this photo mat. So let's take the photo mats off. And even if I want to save this page underneath, it's not going to happen. And I'm okay with that. So we're going to pull these ones off. And this one. The journaling on these pages, let me bring this one in, is kind of random. It's in 2 sections, and that's fine. I did vellum, so I printed that on vellum. I had a drop shadow. I did a lot of fancy fonts back then. And you know what? I'm just going to keep it simple. I took this text right here and this text right here. I combined it. I added the hello baby August 2nd. This is the exact day and time that they were born. And I'm going to put that in back of one of my photos. So I did have to make some decisions as far as where the journaling was going to go. This is the left side. So we're going to move that out of the way. We're going to bring in this one here. We're going to see how these pop off. They're popping off pretty good, actually. We've got this one. These ones here, I must have used a different glue. They're a little bit more difficult. And we're going to remove this last one. Okay, so now we have all of our photos, and I'm not sure why my photo mats were so big, but they were. I'm going to try and bring them all in frame for you. These are all of the photos. And I know that I have to trim them down, but first I have to remove them off of this. I know that I also want to add a little white frame. I find that that looks so much better. I'm really going gently here. This photo is really tacked down. Now there's a few things that you can do. First and foremost, take your time. There is no rush. You do not want to ruin your photo. And I'm just trying to remove it without using this product here. Whew. Okay. I'm pretty confident that I can do that, so I will do that off camera and I'll come back and I'll resize all of these photos a little bit to fit the new layout. We are off to a really great start. I was able to just add this photo. I did trim that down just a tiny little bit. I still get the story. I haven't cropped that all out. And I added a little white border. I really do think that it looks better. Now, I know that these photos are going to be these bigger ones here. I've got 1, 2, and 3. So this is going to be a little bit tricky to crop down. But I also know that these 2 here are almost a 3x4. So I am going to remove this photo mat. Well, I have to remove all of them. So let's remove the photo mats to accommodate the new size, and then I can reuse these ones here. Usually when I do a layout and I don't have photos, I don't tack them down on the edges. I usually just tack them down in the center. So I just added a little bit here. I'm going to move that to my larger mat. I'm going to pull this one off. I've got this one that I can use. And we're going to pull this one here. This one came off pretty nicely, so I'm just going to remove. This one is a little bit more stubborn. All right, so we'll remove that. I'm going to crop down my photos. I'll do new mats for these larger photos, and we'll see how we can reconstruct this page. Now that this came off, maybe I have options to put them all in a row. Let me resize my photos and we'll see how they fit on this layout. I did remove these little embellishments, and I am going to take my rub and remove eraser, and I am just going to clean up the photo mat, and I can use these again. The photo is going to go on here, so I want to bring in this one and this one. So let's see if we can crop these down and not over crop. I think I'll be able to do it. So this has to be a 4. So let's start with the 4. And that's going to let me know if I can do a little border. I can do 4, so I can definitely remove 1/8 of an inch. I can remove it right here from the bottom, and then it's a case of this one has got to be trimmed down quite a bit. So I'm going to go 3, and then on this side I'll remove 1/8. Okay, let's see how that looks. There we go. So this works. And then for this one here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make sure to crop the right amount. So I want to see if this is a 4-inch. It's a little bit tricky because there's still some glue. So this is a 4-inch. I'm going to remove the 1/8 at the bottom so that I don't cut his head. Some of my original photos, a lot of people are missing the top of their heads, which is not good, but it is what it is. So let me see if I make this into a 3-inch. So this is 3. And then we're going to do 1/8. Okay, so this is going to go right here, and this one is going to go right here. I might have to move my flowers up, or maybe I need to move this down. So you can see that there's some adjustment that needs to be done. I don't think I want to have the leaves going over my head. And then we have to move this one in the center to place the baby photo right here. So let's do that. Now, if you have digital photos, you can just print them to size and you don't have to do all of this. But again, I just want to make sure that I put photos in these pages, and these are original. So that looks like a hot mess. Hopefully we can camouflage that, and we can. This one's going to go here, and this is going to go here. So we are going to have to move this cluster right here, and we're going to have to change the title. Although gorgeous is okay, I do have a better title for this page, so we're going to have to do that. So let me show you how that's going to work. I'm going to move my photos. I did go ahead on my Cricut and I looked at the space that this one was taken up. This is almost like 6 inches by 2.5. So I spelt out the day our family grew. Now this is going to be a little tricky because, you know, you always want to make sure everything stays tacked down, but then when you want to remove it, it's always an issue. So this is where I'm going to bring in the undo. And this stuff here is pretty remarkable. Now it does seem like it's wetting your page a lot and it's not going to dry, but it completely dries. So let me see if I can do this. Okay, well, definitely we cannot save this piece. Let's see how this is shaping up and the damage we have done to our page. I always try and use the very best glue when I glue my stuff down, and this is where I somewhat regret it. So let's see if I can gently remove these pieces. I'm gonna let this dry and I'll probably come back and use my eraser here to pick up some of these black pieces. Let's see how our title is gonna look. Maybe I can make this a little bit bigger. So actually it's the day our family. So I do have a little bit showing here and here. Grew. I can move this little dot. You know what? It's not so bad considering we really went to town and tried to remove this. So my options are to make the title a little bit bigger, move this dot so that I can hide some of the messiness that occurred. Let me show you. So we do have a little bit of messiness that occurred. I think I'm going to recut this title and make it a tiny little bit bigger, which is going to hide some of this at the back. And I'll be able to continue on and create this double page layout. I wanted to show you that this cluster comes up. It wasn't tacked down really, really hard. So that gives me more freedom if you want to place my photos. So I can place them like this. They should go up a tiny little bit. So we're going to make them go up. Maybe I'll move this cluster down here. I really do like it up here. We're going to have to move these little guys to this side. Or, let me see. You don't want to have too much overlaps on the photos. So what I'll do is I'll modify this. I will pull these little guys off. And I'm going to move this just like so, so I don't have anything stuck into my hair. You know what? Maybe I don't need them anymore. Well, I can put them back here. There we go. So we're going to move the little sticker, but this is shaping up really well considering this is not at all what this layout was supposed to look like. Let's take a look at my progress. I love the way this is shaping up. And to be honest with you, the hardest part of this layout is to address this area right here where I had this title and it was really tacked down. There's something to be said for using good glue when you want to remove things. So I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick up on this, but there's quite a bit of damage to my pattern paper. But don't worry, I found a solution. Now, if you remember, I was trying to add this smaller title right here and I thought of making it bigger, but making it bigger was not the only thing I had to do. I did make it bigger and I did add vellum. So there's a whole vellum piece now that holds the entire title together. The fact that it's bigger, it's pretty much hiding all of the imperfections. I'm super happy about that. I was able to move this cluster so that it's not on my head. And I think I'm gonna use some dimensional foam here just to lift that up. It's even gonna give it more separation. So let's do that really quickly. I'm really happy with the title placement, the size of it. The vellum really covers all of that messiness that we created at the back. I'm lucky enough to still have some of these gems, so I'm going to add some, just a few. I still have some little areas where I need to camouflage if you want the little rips that we did. So I'm going to see if I can play with that a tiny little bit. So right here I do have a little bit of a mess. I think this would look okay. I could add this right here at the bottom. You know what? I think that looks okay. Let's finish this page. You can see that I've already matted my photos. Originally I had small photos, which you could appreciate the background paper a little bit more, but I like that I was able to document all of my photos. So I'm just gonna move this cluster over. And this wasn't tacked down. Like if you remember, there was one here at the bottom and one here. It wasn't tacked down too tightly. I'm gonna move these out of the way. And one thing that I did do, I had a sticker here with a date, and the date was misleading because I am referring back to August 2nd here, and I didn't want to kind of contradict the date with a sticker, so I added just a heart sticker on top. And once I add my photos, you don't really see that. For these photos, I was able to crop them down to size and adhere them to one photo mat. So I was able to have a smaller border, but still have the same look. And I'm gonna sneak that right here at the top. Originally, I was gonna put this one in the center, but I really couldn't crop more off of this photo. So I'm gonna add this one right here at the bottom. And then we're going to add our embellishments. So we're gonna adhere these down. And even though these are quite bigger, yes, the pattern is really pretty here at the back, but I think it's still gonna work. I'm gonna leave myself the same amount of space here, and then I'm gonna adhere this photo down, and I can leave myself the same amount of space again. And then we can move our little cluster of flowers. Now, this is what I have to contend with. And I started by moving these flowers up here. And I can place, these two are already in a cluster if you want. And then I can move these ones and move them just over. Then these little guys, you know what? I'm going to bring in some leaves. These little leaves are going to hide that. And then I can put this right here at the top. So I just redistributed this cluster. And here I have another little rip. So I'm going to add this flower. I was going to add my journaling right up here in back of this photo, but I did glue that down. Now I could lift it, but I'm thinking, you know what? The journaling would probably look good right here. I'll resize my text box. I'll print that on white. It's printed just in black, and I will add this to the layout. Now, I don't know if this was scary for you to watch me deconstruct this entire page and add these photos that weren't meant to be on this layout, but I don't think you can tell now. I really love the way that this turned out. Let's take a look at the layout. The one that was in the baby album, this is what it looked like. And then let's take a look at this layout before we deconstructed the layout. Here it is right here. And then let's take a look at it now. And I really can't tell that this was not the original design. Can you? I love the way that I was able to camouflage all of the imperfections because there were a few down here. I really love the way that that turned out. And I was able to redistribute all of these clusters to make this layout work. Well, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.